Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of Fox Reacts. Today, we're checking out on a bit of an old video from Film Theory. What movie are they talking about, or what show? Well, today it seems to be Fast and Furious. So, let's see what's going on.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Excuse me, what?
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Jeez,
I'm
and
sorry,
thought
I
Batman's
really
voice was
can't
rough.
understand what you're trying to say.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Maybe try clearing your throat? Perhaps a lozenge?
Sorry, old chap. I had a bit of a tickle in my throat.
What
I
the
said,
hell?
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I might want to take this back. Just doesn't work the same way without it. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, a show that would live its life a quarter theory at a time, but that would make for some really disappointing videos. In 2001,
Yeah,
the
most
world was
likely.
introduced to a little movie that could, named The Fast and the Furious. At the time, it was just this unassuming tale of an undercover cop trying to bust a ring of DVD thieves. Nothing all too special, right? But it thrilled audiences enough with its fast racing, furious fighting, and love of Corona beer.
You can have any brew you
And probably it had some help thanks to the one and only Vin Diesel. Also the voice of the Iron Giant and Groot.
want, as long as it's a Corona.
That now, here we are. 20 years, 9 films, and $6 billion later with cars
Damn.
being launched into outer space. As you
Okay,
can tell,
this
the
is-
Fast and Furious franchise has left behind its street racing roots and is now more focused on saving the
hell?
world from viruses that eat people from the inside out. And that's not a joke, that is literally the plot of Hobbs and Shaw. Space? Viruses? I mean, where do you even go from here for the inevitable 10th movie? It's gotta be Dom
is
and the crew
crazy
driving
shit.
Optimus Prime. And thoughts like that make me legitimately excited for Fast 10, which, can I just get real with you, if they don't name that movie Fast 10 Your Seatbelts, they have passed on literal gold.
That would
Now,
actually be
obviously,
great
with
level.
more success comes bigger budgets, more explosions, and more spectacle meant to one-up the prior film. What started as
they
a
have Michael
small-scale
Bay
story
working
about a
with
crew of thieves being defeated by a determined truck driver and his shoddy has become a globe-trotting action fest that features exploding nuclear submarines, parachuting cars, and Transformer-esque motorcycles where, in the latest movie, the characters themselves are asking whether they're invincible superheroes. Basically, the first film, the characters
This
live
is
their life a
crazy
quarter
shit.
mile at a time.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Nowadays, the characters are battling bionic super soldiers. Life comes at you
What
fast.
the
But today,
hell?
my question's simple. Which Fast and Furious movie is the fastest, and which one is the most furious? There's no question that these movies come with a formula. Close-up on shifting gears, panning shots over engines revving, testosterone-fueled fistfights, and as many gratuitous shots of female partiers that they can get away with without being canceled on Twitter.
Winner gets me.
It is almost contractually
Yeah, up the
mandated at
price.
this point for each script to contain no less than 10 drops of the word NOS.
I need NOS. I need NOS.
But what I want to learn today is
Those
whether it's
two,
better
well,
for
the
these
other
movies
8.
to be fast or furious. Is the Fast franchise better off for leaving behind the car-centered plot lines and focusing more on saving the world, or does leaning into the furious fights yield bigger box office takeaways? Well, we looked at all the data, and the results weren't what we expected. Who knows? Maybe these movies do have something to teach us after all.
Let's see.
I regret everything I just said. First, let's talk about which film is just the most Fast and Furious. To calculate this, we put together 23 categories that define the franchise. Things like number of speedometer shots, number of explosions, time spent watching close-ups of male biceps, number of Coronas consumed, number of manly
Jeez.
hugs, amount of gear shifting, number of times a character drops the word family, crew, or team, amount of time spent revving engines, number of NOS usages, total racing time, and of course, whether or not there's a barbecue. We ranked each of the 9 movies, up through Hobbs and Shaw, not the newest one, from 1 to 9, with the movie in the number 1 spot having the most of each instance, and 9 with the fewest. Fast and Furious 6, for instance, has 22 mentions of family and team, most in the franchise, so it got 1 point in the category. Too Fast, Too Furious only has 1 mention of team, putting it at the bottom and giving it 9 points. In binary categories like, is there a BBQ? A yes gets you a 0. Lowest overall score wins. And after tallying it all up, in a bit of an upset, Fast and Furious 6 beats out fan and critical favorites Fast 5 and Furious 7 to be crowned as the
Wow.
most Fast and Furious. Why? Well, it's kind of the
kind of
perfect middle point
impressive.
of the franchise. It, more than any other movie, balances the old school elements like racing and Corona-filled barbecues with newer elements like huge explosions and global stakes.
Street kid. Starts out stealing DVD players in East LA, ends up heisting $100 million in Rio.
Not bad, huh?
Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that this movie is the best, it just means that this uses the most tropes of what makes this franchise what it is. But being the curious nerd that I am, I wanted to break it down further by looking at which of the films is the fastest and which one is the most furious. By separating the two, I can see if it's better to be fast or furious, which, gotta be honest, makes my
If I had to guess, I think one of the faster movies would probably be one of the ones focused more along cars. So probably one of the earlier ones. While the Furious would probably be one of the later ones, like one of the most recent. Frickin' space cars and viruses? What the hell? Full on, what the hell?
little nerd brain super happy. Once I have those numbers, I can mix in box office, fan reviews, and critical reception, crunch the numbers, and see if there's anything that statistics can teach us about this franchise.
But I know your taste in cars. What about your women?
20% angel, 80% devil.
See? I'm not the only one who loves data. Let's start off by figuring out which of the Fast films is the fastest. As far as fastest individual scene, that honor is obviously going to F9, which features a rocket car. But since that one isn't in contention yet, our runner-up is Furious 6. The runway scene at the end of the film features a whopping 13-minute chase involving very fast cars going on average around 120 miles per hour, or 193 kilometers an hour as they race down an airplane runway trying to prevent the plane from taking off. No other film in the franchise features cars going so fast for so long. By the way, since we're talking about numbers here, considering how fast the cars are going for how long, that runway would have to be roughly 26 miles long, 42 kilometers, or, to put it in Dom's terms, 104 quarter-mile races. It's ironic, too, since a typical airplane runway is 1.5 miles or 2.4 kilometers, much closer to Dom's preferred length of racing. True to its name, Too Fast, Too Furious comes in at number 2 with its opening race, and in third we have the ice chase from the Fate of the Furious, only slowed down by the laws of friction. Damn you, physics! Here's the rest of the top list. But like I said, that's only talking about individual scenes. We're interested in the fastest overall. To measure this, I'm looking at a few key criteria. First, which fast film features the most racing, engine revving, NOS usages, speedometer shots, racing, and car-related talk. And second, which fast film features cars going the fastest for the longest. Throw in the number of quarter-mile races, time spent at or near a car workshop, and time spent riding outside of the vehicle, and you've got yourself one fast movie.
Welcome to Raid Shadow Legends. If you're wondering just what you're getting into, Raid Shadow Legends.
Hey, Raid, if you're gonna do anything, sponsor me. I'll talk about your game. I played it, and I enjoyed it. And I may have not played it for long because I was doing it for another reason, but I'll still talk about it. Sponsor me. Pay me. Moving on.
Tallying up all the scores, our fastest film is Too Fast, Too Furious, followed closely by the third movie, Tokyo Drift, then the fourth, and finally the original. Here's the complete rankings on screen, but you'll notice that the first 4 films also make up the top 4 slots here. And not only are they fast, but they are significantly faster. The first 4 films in total feature over 41 minutes of racing, and an additional 40 minutes of talking about racing. The next 5 only feature a little over 5 minutes of actual racing, and around 10 minutes of talking about racing. Consider this, Tokyo Drift features almost 3 times more racing than Fast 5 through 8 and Hobbs and Shaw combined. 15 minutes and 10 seconds versus a total of 5 minutes across 5 movies. For a franchise that has fast in the name and was built on car chases and races, the series has decidedly slowed down. And that's not all. The other interesting trend in all this is that the first 4 movies all have tomato meter scores that are rotten, which immediately changes at Fast 5 where the racing takes a, wait for it, a back seat. I hate myself. I am so sorry. Honestly, it's not even close. The average approval ranking of the first 4 movies is 39%. It's an average of 72% for the other 5. Those first 4 also happen to be the lowest grossing. Adjusting for inflation, the first 4 rake in $722 million in the US. The next 5 double it at $1.3 billion. And worldwide, the difference is even more clear. 1 through 4, $1.4 billion. 5 through Hobbs and Shaw, $5.3 billion. That is $1 billion per movie as opposed to $250 million per. Now, to be fair, those earlier movies came first, so they were paving the way for the future blockbusters, but still, it is very clear that as fastness went down, ratings and box office earnings went up. Instead of F9's subtitle being the Fast Saga, maybe a better name for it would have been the Furious Saga. But to truly know for sure, we have to look at the other half of this equation and the other half of the franchise title, at least when they feel like including it. Which movie is the most furious? So how do you measure fury? Well, we're looking for the film that features the most death, destruction, and fistfights. In the original Fast and Furious, sorry, that's the name of the fourth installment, I mean, in the original The Fast and The Furious, we see Dom, Brian, and Letty beating people up, Jesse getting killed, Johnny Tran also getting killed, and various 10-second cars getting blown to smithereens. But the carnage, get it? Carnage? Ugh, I think this episode has lowered my IQ down to the level of the movies. Anyway, the carnage of that first film feels like kiddie stuff compared to more recent movies like The Fate of the Furious and Hobbs and Shaw, which both destroy billions of dollars of property and have no problem killing people off by the dozens. When running the numbers, it's immediately clear that the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw features the most fistfights, as they beat people up all over the world and dispatch henchmen like they're cardboard cutouts. 14 and a half minutes are dedicated to face punching, which is more than triple the amount of the first 4 films. But as far as how they stack up, here's how the numbers play out. First is Hobbs and Shaw with that 14 and a half minutes of fighting, followed closely by, actually I can't even say that, no other movie even touches that one. Furious 7 is in a distant second place with almost exactly half the amount of fighting, just 7 minutes 16 seconds. On the other end of the spectrum is Tokyo Drift with just 49 seconds total spent fighting. Tokyo Drift, truly the thinking man's Fast and Furious film.
You know that real famous painting? The one of the woman who's smiling all the time?
The Mona Lisa.
Right, Mona Lisa.
Like I said, the big-brained one. What's interesting about all this is that yet again, the first 4 movies all rank together, this time in the bottom half. Also, the 4 highest grossing Fast movies are in the top 4. So more face punching equals more money, and less car talk also equals more money. Again, an interesting trend for a franchise that is branded around racing and car talk. That said, fights don't fully define being furious. If you add in main character deaths, double crosses.
Kind of seems more like these movies transferred from being fast to being furious. So maybe they could actually sell this as a box set and call it Fast to Furious. Or something like that, I don't know.
And number of kills, the rankings shift a bit to make number 7 the most furious movie. You have Deckard killing dozens of cops then wanting angry revenge, Dom wanting revenge for the deaths of Giselle and Han, 7 minutes and 16 seconds of fighting and the knockdown drag-out fights between Hobbs and Shaw, Dom and Shaw, and Letty and Cara, where contractually no one's allowed to lose. Also, Dom and Deckard are so furious at each other that they drive their incredibly expensive vehicles headfirst into each other. Yeah, no airbags, no death from a high-speed head-on collision. I need to do an episode just dedicated to moments like this. Anyway, what's particularly fitting about the 7th movie being most furious is that its title is also the one that doesn't have the word fast in it. Furious 7 is indeed the most furious, and it's the highest grossing of all the Fast films with the mind-blowing $1.5 billion worldwide, whereas Tokyo Drift, the film with the least amount of face punching, has the lowest worldwide box office haul of just under $159 million. All of it proves the point. People want anger and violence, not car races. The car races are apparently the boring parts that no one wants to see. You know, that conclusion kind of makes me wonder about the weird naming of this franchise. You know how some are furious, some are Fast and Furious, and now it's just the Fast Saga? Could it be the movie studio pulling like some next level strategy with us? Them carefully A/B testing each new movie's title to see what gets the butts into the theaters? Using the data to craft this series and the title in such a way that it's geared towards how audiences most want to consume it? Are these actually smart films?
Are you one of those boys who prefers cars to women?
I'm one of those boys that appreciates a fine body regardless of the make.
Nope, never mind. Speaking of smarts, though, let's say, and this is totally a hypothetical, that you're a member of a notorious street racing gang turned CIA-adjacent operative team, and you need to learn some things quick, like, I don't know, aerospace travel on a budget, or Magnets 101. Lucky for you, today's sponsor, Skillshare, might just have you covered.
Well, I guess that's it for this video. Gonna just take a quick look here, see if he just goes on to talk about that. And yes, he does. Wow, he goes on to talk about for an entire 2 minutes. Wow. Well, anyway, that's gonna end today's video. Right here. Down in the description will be the link to the original video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. This is Fox, signing out. Have a good day, pups.